Hey everyone, it's Brad and Josh here, and we welcome you to We'll Bring the Popcorn, the ultimate film and TV podcast. I want to move us into our film review of this week, which is Good Fortune. So this is a new Keanu Reeves comedy, which I was really looking forward to because past like the Bill and Ted sequel that they did, he hasn't done a whole lot of comedies. I mean, he's had bit parts in like the SpongeBob movie and a few other things, but he hasn't done a full-on comedy in a while. It's been John Wick, it's been The Matrix, it's been a lot of heavy action, dark action films. So it was really good to see him back in a comedy. He plays the angel Gabriel, who is in charge of texting and driving. So the only thing really he's supposed to do is just show up in people's cars and tap them on the shoulder to get them to look up before something bad happens because they're texting and driving. But he's kind of bored of that. He feels like he could do more, that he wants to do more and help more people, because you get Azrael, who comes and is telling stories to all the other angels of how he's changed the life of this person, and he's kind of getting jealous. Like, he wants to help other people. So he ends up helping Aziz Ansari's character, Arj, to stop texting and driving, and he follows him a little bit, seeing that his life is not so good. Like, he is doing all these different apps, between delivering food to like handyman services, just to try to make ends meet, but like he still can't afford a home to live in. He's living out of his car, and he's like struggling to make ends meet. And Gabriel decides, I'm going to help this guy. I'm going to give him his moment to show him that life can be better and that he should be happy with his life. And it is really funny of how he attempts to show him, like, this is what your life is going to be in like 2 years, and then this is 5, and this is 10. He's like, that's all you have to show me? Like, there's something negative that happens in every single one. And he's like, you're supposed to be showing me good stuff. And he's like, he doesn't know what to do. And it overall was a really fun film to me. Like, it didn't hit hard as much with a ton of like laugh after laugh after laugh, but I got some good laughs out of this film.
Oh, this film was funny. Like, Keanu Reeves has like the perfect deadpan comedic delivery, and it really shines through in this film. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about his cameo in not his cameo, but his character in Toy Story 4 as well, as like one of the recent more comedy ones, where he's just the over the top Evel Knievel type character.
Duke Kaboom.
Duke Kaboom was his name. Yeah, it was. He's so good at comedy. Like, people forget just how like good he is in that genre, because John Wick and The Matrix are just like epic film franchises where he gets to be this awesome action star. Which, who knew the guy that played in Bill and Ted's the Bill and Ted films could be an action star? But he's had an unbelievable career and an amazing career resurgence over the past 10 plus years with John Wick, bringing him back to the forefront. But getting him back into comedy in a role like this was so good and so well done. Like, he's hilarious in this movie because, like you said, he has these ambitions of helping people and doing more, and he kind of hyper focuses on Arj because, he sees some of the texts that he was getting ready to send when he saved him, and he was just like, he's the perfect person I can help. This guy that's just down on his luck, I can show him his life's worth living. And it kind of becomes his mission throughout this film. And it sets off this really fun chain of events where, Arj goes to work for Seth Rogen's character, Jeff, who's like this uber wealthy multimillionaire investor who has this ginormous mansion in the Hollywood Hills. And, becomes envious of that type of life. And, he sees the work, and, just Arj just goes through just a comedy of errors and just awful things that could happen to him on a day-to-day basis, where they pull in some real life stuff that happens to people like on an everyday basis, where like he's a delivery driver whose order doesn't, like, they close the shop that he's trying to pick up an order from, and they cancel his order, and he's calling the guy like, hey, don't cancel this, like don't cancel the tip because I don't make any money. I've been sitting out here for 2 hours. And then the guy's like, oh, I won't. And then he hangs up and he gets the alert that he canceled the order anyway. And you're just like, man, I just wasted 2 hours. Like, what are we doing? Like, just bringing some like very real situations into this movie that I really think brings that authenticity like to the story that they're trying to tell.
Yeah, it tries to bring some real heart into it because it's showing the struggles of what modern day people are going with, of what delivery drivers, how little they make from everything, and tips and reviews are very high to it, but just the struggles like people with like minimum wage jobs or so have of trying to have a life, because you have, you know, the love interest in Elena played by Keke Palmer, which I kind of wanted more of her in the film just because she's so fantastic. She works at this Home Depot like store that Arj ends up working at and meeting her, and they kind of kick off a little bit of a flame and stuff, but it also kicks off kind of the biggest problem in the movies, because, you know, he ends up doing a job cleaning the garage and reorganizing the garage to Jeff, and he talks his way into becoming Jeff's assistant, which, you know, Jeff ends up giving him a company credit card for expenses, and, you know, he's hyping up to Jeff that I've got this date and I'm going to go, let's go take her to this restaurant. Is it expensive? Oh no, it's fine. Well, to a millionaire investor, it's not, but when he shows up and the bill's like $400, he uses the credit card, which gets him in trouble with her because he can't sustain like a life, which she's not asking for that life, but he's wanting to do things and give things, but it gets him fired and his car gets towed and just everything falls apart at that point, to where Gabriel's like, you know what? I'm going to show you that rich lifestyle isn't all what it's cracked up to be, because the point is supposed to show him that here is a look at the other side of people who don't have to worry, and you'll want to go back to your life because you'll see your life's worth living. And we've seen in the trailer, and the funniest part is like, yeah, I'm showing him that this life isn't going to solve all your problems. And, well, it seems to have solved most of his all of his problems, and he doesn't want to go back.
Right.
He doesn't want to swap back, and that's the big crux of the movie, is that Arj has to want to return to his life to go back to it, and that causes all the problems, because he's like, no, I have it on easy street. I have all the money in the world. I don't have to stress. I have a mansion. I don't have to worry about a thing. Why would I want to go back?
Right. And it seems so silly, but it's like, you know, it's literally what happens with people that like could happen with people that have a bunch of money like that. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, oh, it's just such a neat way of like showing it on film was the pool heater going out, and it's just like, oh, it's going to cost like 30 grand to fix this pool heater. And he's like, oh, that's fine. Okay. Do what you got to do. Like, it's not a small.
Most of us
have been like, well, I guess I don't have a pool anymore, but like, he's just like, it's fine. Go ahead and fix it. No worries. What's 30 grand? And it's just, it's a really fun, like, social story of like, I'm trying to find the best way to explain it, because you see how easy it could be when you have money that you can use to solve all of your problems. And obviously everybody dreams of being, you know, rich, and what we would do if we had that obscene amount of money and what we would do with it. But you get kind of the flip side of it too, where not only does Arj go and live the lavish life, you get Jeff, who's very much if you want to call him a Nepo baby, where, you know, the running joke from the trailer is like, you know, where he talks about he came from nothing, but his dad was an orthopedic surgeon and his mom was an attorney for a major company. Like, he wasn't wanting for anything growing up, but like now he has to go and live Arj's life, and you see all the stuff that he goes through. But what I think really helps nail some of the stuff in this movie is Gabriel's role in this, and the fact that, you know, he's stepping out of his bounds as an angel, and it gets him in trouble where he gets fired because he's interfering too much and he's not doing the simple things that he needs to do, because Gabriel's very much an entry-level angel trying to work his way up his, you know, angel hierarchy ladder too, to get to a point of an Azrael where he can be an angel for more important things that he thinks is more important, you know, making real differences in people's lives and not just saving them from texting and driving. So he loses his ability as an angel, and he has to start living in the real world too. And I think that's where a lot of the real extra oomph in this movie comes from, his interactions as being human and some of the levity that he adds and just the joy that he finds in life in some cases, and then realizing just how hard it is to be a human. Like I think his character arc is my favorite by far in this entire story, because he's just so brilliant and so good and written so well in this film.
Yeah, Keanu is the glue of this film. Like, he overshadows Arj's story a lot, just because Keanu is like, Arj is kind of the same type of character that Aziz Ansari plays a lot. Like, there's very similarities to a lot of it. So you get that connection too, but it really is seeing everything through Gabriel's eyes, because he is kind of like not exactly dumb to it, but he just doesn't know what it's like to be human and to struggle and stuff. And yeah, when he becomes human, there's a really funny diner scene where he's trying food for the first time and he's trying to get him to try a cheeseburger, and he like, when do I know when to swallow? It's like, you'll know. And then he gets handed a chicken nugget, and the childlike face that you get from Keanu when he tries a chicken nugget. He's like, oh, if you like that, you try the milkshake. And he goes on this just like beautiful spiel about how the strawberries, this berry, of how just amazing and great this fruit is, and not knowing just how it was. And then Jeff's like, I mean, that's a chocolate milkshake, but you do you. Like that just works so well when we got that kind of childlike, just not knowing of what to do, because we even get the joke that he shows up to the, Keke Palmer's characters trying to get a union going at the Home Depot like store to, make lives better for people, because they're not making that much money and they're struggling and stuff. And he shows up in support, but he's just rambling on about stuff that all of them are like, who are you? Do you work here? Oh no, am I not supposed to be back here? Like, oh.
And then he gets escorted out.
But it's just that childlike innocence that you get out of a guy who's, 50, 60 years old, and you get that childlike wonder, and then he has to start getting a job, and he works as a dishwasher and working with Felipe and that relationship and stuff. Like he discovers alcohol and more, and it's like, it's just that childlike that you see in Keanu, like, just made this movie so special because of that, because we were laughing at so much stuff because of Keanu from all that.
It's so smartly written, and you're reminding me of probably my two favorite scenes in the film. One of which is the speech he gives at the meeting where they're talking about trying to rally support for becoming a union, where he just talks about money should be spent on fun things, and like, just go see the film for that speech alone, because it's so funny. But one of my favorite, like, that is so real moments comes when he gets his first paycheck as a dishwasher, and he's working with this guy Felipe, who's like running the store, running the place where he's washing the dishes at. Place. Yeah. And he's like, Felipe, something's wrong with my check. And he's like, what's going on? He's like, I'm supposed to make this much money, but then they take some money for this, and then they take some money to just talking about how we get our checks just taxed to death at some point, especially when you're not making that much money. And then he was just like, he's like, yeah, some of this goes to the local government, some of this goes to the federal government. And he just looks and he's like, that's not fair.
I can't live off of this.
I can't live off of it. It's just so real, because it's just like so many people, like, that's the obvious part of it, but it's done in such a humorous way that it really worked for me. And it was one of my favorite scenes in the whole film. I'm like, yes, why do we have to have such high taxes? So much of our money that just goes like back out of our pockets when we earn it. It's just it's so wild. There's definitely some playful commentary in this film that's taking pointed jabs at people in power, and
even like, poking fun at themselves. Like, they know they're like Seth Rogen and that they're rich and stuff, and they're trying to portray the irony that a bunch of millionaires made a film about people struggling. They kind of poke at that. Like, we know that we have it well off, and there's so many people struggling, and that there should be about, especially like Jeff's boardroom speech and stuff that really connects on that. And if you've watched a studio, there is some kind of like parallels in between a few things in that as well. But it really tries to get to the heart that you see that there's such this large gap between the wealthy and the ones who are making them wealthy, because they're out there grunting and doing all the work for very little pay, while everyone at the top gets to make all the money. And they make a good commentary about that, which, really touches on the heart and the soul of the film there. And like, I did want to see a little bit more out of Arj and Elena's relationship, because we got it in bits and pieces. It serves like a point here, and then they kind of move away from it. Then it serves a point, and they move away from it. Because Keke Palmer was really... She's amazing. Just has this great chemistry and was really working well in it, but she didn't get as much as I kind of hoped she would have in that, because it was less of her kind of giving. I mean, she gives Arj a little bit of that nudge and the push about his real life, but it really is Keanu as the heart and the soul and the glue of this film, and just that childlike wonder of him not knowing what to do, but also starting to see stuff come together in the end of like people he saved from, texting and driving and other things like that. It was overall really fun, but like without Keanu, I don't think it would have been quite as good as it was without him really giving a little bit of Bill and Ted type of his deadpan humor in there, but he just does it so well. And like just hearing him say chicken nuggies still makes me laugh.
It is hilarious, and part of the through line for the film that's really going to drive that home is like what it like 6 months from now when you think of Good Fortune, you're going to think chicken nuggies because of how he just says it and how much it means to him in the film, and it's so funny, so well done. I got so much enjoyment out of watching this. Like it's not a perfect film by any means. Like it's paced pretty well. It's got a good, pretty simple overall story that it follows. Mm-hmm. The humor is really the driving point in this film. Like you said, Keanu, if they didn't have Keanu Reeves in this film, probably wouldn't be as good as it was, because he gives just an awesome performance in this, and he's just so good, and I'm glad that he's back in this kind of comedic role that really works well for him. I got a lot of enjoyment out of the film because he's such a bright spot in it.
I don't know why it just popped in my head, but I talk about the childlike wonder of his humor, but like when he first meets ours, standing kind of in the parking lot of the Denny's, and he's like, "I'm an angel." He's like, "What? See the wings?" And just the way he just the childlike way he's pointing out his little bitty wings, because it's kind of the point that you've got to become a better angel to get promoted and you get bigger wings and stuff. But it was just the childlike way he said, "See the wings?" And it's just a fun vehicle to see him doing something other than, which I love the action packed stuff that he's done with The Matrix and John Wick and everything, but to see him back into doing comedy was just so much fun to see him doing comedy fully instead of like just being a cameo or a bit part in another film. Like being in a whole film doing a comedy was just, I want to see him do more comedies.
Yeah, for sure. But Good Fortune is a film that is a fun social play on just life in general and the struggles that so many normal Americans face, but it's done in such a way that it's got heart, it's got charm, it's paced so well. The writing on it, the dialogue is really funny. I am so glad that Keanu Reeves is back in a comedic role in this after being in so many action films. It's good to see him back in a comedic role like this, and he's really a bright spot in this film. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said, it's not a perfect movie by any means, but my God, he makes this movie so fun and so enjoyable that I probably wouldn't have had as much fun if it weren't him kind of being the heart of this film. Even though he's not technically the overall central character of the movie, he still carries so much weight in this film that makes it such an enjoyable experience. And for that, I'm giving it a 7.5.
I'm right there with you. Pretty much everything you said. I'm giving it a 7.5 as well, because Keanu does overshadow Aziz Ansari's ours. Like he gives a decent performance, but it does feel kind of more of the kind of same character that he's played a lot. And so when Keanu steps in and does that, and Jeff is kind of a similar thing that Seth Rogen has done a lot. So it's more about letting Keanu shine and doing. Keke Palmer was a lot of fun. I was wishing she would get a little bit more in there, because it borders on that of trying to give a little dramatic emotion to it, but they don't ever let it dip too low. Like they try to keep the comedic and the highs, but still touching on serious points with, sure, those who are not as well off as others, and being happy with your life or how you can change, or not always being wanting and striving for what everybody else has. And it's got a pretty decent message. It could have been a little bit better, but as you mentioned, without Keanu, it probably would have been much lower rating on that. He really gave a childlike, fun, whimsical performance that was just a joy to watch.
For sure. He's so fun in this. And that's not even, like, we went the entire review and didn't even talk about Sandra Oh being in it, who's kind of Martha, the boss angel there, who's kind of like the head honcho, and she's got some bright spots in this film as well, even though she's in it in a pretty limited capacity, because this does really focus on Arj, Jeff, and in Keanu Reeves' character in this film, and it doesn't. It really hyper-focuses on the three of them and their interactions throughout most of this, but she also gets a little bit of love from me, too, because she's just an amazing actress as well, and I love seeing her in pretty much everything she's in as well. But yeah, definitely wanted more out of Keke Palmer in this because she's so talented as an actress and is wonderful in so many different things. But yeah, great movie, man. It was such a good film to go see. I'm glad we went and saw this one because it was definitely worth a watch, and so good to have Keanu back in comedy.
Yeah, so Good Fortune is in theaters right now. Go check it out if you want to see Keanu doing more comedy, if you've just seen a good laugh. Like, it's got a solid story to it, but you're mainly going to go into this wanting to see Keanu and all the ridiculous things that they try, because you could really tell that they're trying to see what is the most ridiculous things we could have him do and say that works in the movie, but makes it like really humorous because it's Keanu Reeves delivering it with his deadpan kind of style. So it was a lot of fun. Go check it out.
To find all of the episodes of We'll Bring the Popcorn, go to our YouTube page, hit the like and subscription button so you're getting our episodes when they drop each and every Monday. If you're listening to us in the audio room on any of the podcasting platforms that we're on, please don't forget to give us a 5-star review. It really helps elevate the profile of the show. And don't forget to go to willbringthepopcorn.com, where it has all of our archive videos, all of our social media information, as well as our merch store, so you continue to support the show in that way. We cannot thank you enough for your continued support.